So one of those British tabloids referred to actor Johnny Depp as a, quote, wife beater. And he wasn't too happy about it. It probably damaged his ability to get some roles and his reputation, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And he said it wasn't true. So he filed a lawsuit for libel over in the UK. You know, it didn't turn out that well, but Ted Rollins has the story for us tonight.
Actor Johnny Depp, who was hoping a British court would help restore his image and kickstart his career, instead was dealt a major blow by a judge, dismissing his claims against a British tabloid. Depp sued The Sun for libel after a 2018 article called him a wife beater, but Justice Andrew Nicol of the High Court of England sided with the newspaper, saying what they published was, quote, substantially true. The ruling comes after weeks of salacious testimony and video and audio evidence presented to the court during a trial over the summer in London.
Oh, you're crazy. Are you crazy?
Have you drunk this whole thing this morning?
Oh, you got this. You got this going?
Just started it.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Really?
Front and center at trial was Depp's ex-wife, Amber Heard. Called as a witness by The Sun, she testified about 14 separate incidents of physical and emotional abuse beginning in early 2013 and ending in May of 2016, just before the couple agreed to separate. She secretly recorded Depp during what she characterized as drunken, drug-induced rages.
No, I didn't. What the are you talking about? And I watched you lie, and then I
didn't punch you.
And
by
then
the way, I'm sorry that I didn't.
Punch
you. It has been incredibly painful to relive the breakup of my relationship, to have my motives, my truth questioned, and the most traumatic and intimate details of my life with Johnny shared in court and broadcast to the entire world.
In his ruling, Judge Nichols wrote, I have found that the great majority of alleged assaults of Miss Heard by Mr. Depp have been proved to the civil standard.
This isn't a guilty verdict like you get in a criminal case, but effectively this judge has said, I think you, Johnny Depp, are a wife beater. I believe your ex-wife. I think that she has proved to me that on 12 different occasions, at least, you did attack her and physically leave bruises on her, and therefore that amounts to the same thing, really.
Depp's lawyers, clearly upset with the decision, issued a statement saying in part, this decision is as perverse as it is bewildering. Most troubling is the judge's reliance on the testimony of Amber Heard and corresponding disregard of the mountain of counter evidence from police officers, medical practitioners, her own former assistant, other unchallenged witnesses, and an array of documentary evidence which completely undermine the allegations point by point.
Scarlet. Not sure I deserve that.
Depp claims his career has been damaged by allegations of abuse, citing his removal from the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise in 2018. Around the same time, Amber Heard wrote about being the victim of abuse in an op-ed published in the Washington Post. The article didn't actually name Depp, but that isn't stopping him from suing her for $50 million in the state of Virginia.
If I was his lawyer, I would strangle him vocally and make this lawsuit go away. He doesn't need any more adverse publicity, regardless of whether he hit her, beat her, whether or not he was a bad guy or a good guy. He needs to make this go away.
That is what we are fighting. That is the enemy.
According to Depp's IMDb page, the actor is currently filming Fantastic Beasts 3, due out next year. It's unclear what, if any, effect the ruling in London or the case in Virginia will have on his future career.
By the way, for our fans watching in the UK tonight, there's a case here in the United States, as you heard from Ted, and there's a chance that there may be cameras in the courtroom for that one. So the trial that happened in the UK that we didn't get to see, you may get to see here in the U.S. All right, let's bring in Court TV special contributor Ashley Banfield and Court TV correspondent, anchor, Ted Rollins, anchor. All right, Ted. Ted, let me start with you. How big is this ruling here?
Well, I think it's huge for Johnny Depp. He was hoping that the judge would not believe Amber Heard and believe him that these allegations were untrue. But let's face it, just talking about him, some would argue, is bad for Johnny Depp. This makes it even worse. Then you add the Virginia case. It's just going to keep going, this narrative of him being an alleged wife beater.
Ashley, I know you took a close look at the judge's ruling here. What jumped out to you?
Well, first of all, it was really long, and the judge acknowledged how much material there really was to go over. But point by point, this judge really dug into every aspect of this case, even acknowledging the ones that couldn't be dug into. So it was very thorough. Specifically, I wanted to read for you something out of the judge's ruling, because I think it's very telling as to what this judge thought about Mr. Depp after all of the evidence was weighed. And the judge talks a little bit about one of the emails. This is pretty ugly stuff. I've had to clean this up for TV, so bear with me. Something of Mr. Depp's feelings towards Ms. Heard can be seen in a text that he sent to Christian Carino on the 15th of August, 2016, in which he said, "She's begging for total global humiliation. She's going to get it. I have no mercy, no fear, and not an ounce of emotion or what I once thought was love for this gold-digging, low-level, dime-a-dozen, mushy, pointless, dangling, overused, flappy fish market. I'm so expletive happy that she wants to fight this out. She will hit the wall hard." The judge continued to say, "And I cannot wait to have this waste of an expletive guzzler out of my life. I met expletive sublime little Russian here," which makes me realize the time I blew on that 50-cent stripper. "I wouldn't touch her with an expletive glove. I can only hope that karma kicks in and takes the gift of breath from her. I will stop at nothing." Ouch. So those were the words of Johnny Depp regarding Amber Heard as he emailed to his friend Christian Carino. That whole business about her being a gold digger, the fact that Johnny Depp in this suit claimed that Amber Heard had made up a hoax, all in the effort of an insurance policy in case they get divorced to make more money, the judge acknowledged that very specifically as well. So I'm going to read a very short excerpt of what the judge said about that. The judge said, "I had evidence as to what Ms. Heard had received as the result of the divorce settlement. The principal element of that settlement was payment to her by Mr. Depp of United States currency, $7 million. Her donation of the $7 million to charity is hardly the act one would expect of a gold digger." So I think, Vinny, that gives us a bit of insight as to what this judge thought of Amber Heard as a person, given the evidence that Johnny Depp laid out against her, and what the judge thought of Johnny Depp, given the evidence that was laid out against him.
You know, Ted, I didn't practice in the UK. I practiced in Jersey. So what sort of recourse? What sort of recourse does Johnny Depp have after losing at the trial level here?
I asked that question to Juliet Bremner from ITN. She was in the courtroom for this entire trial. Here's what she said.
She can appeal this, but most of the lawyers who've been commentating here in London today say that they think that this judgment is very well reasoned, and it will be very difficult for them to find grounds for appeal. You have to ask if you can have grounds to appeal, i.e. there has to be some flaw in the judgment for you to come and have a second go. So he's going to try and do that, apparently, but most legal experts think that he will have a very tough job in trying to persuade the court that this judge has got it wrong and that he should be allowed to have another go, as it were.
Bottom line, Vinny, he needs to come up with something that was wrong with the proceeding this time around, and as you heard, likely not going to happen.
Yeah, it seems like there's like a little bit of an extra hurdle over in the UK. Here, you can appeal anything. You can lose. You'll lose if you don't have anything, but you can certainly appeal. Here, I guess you got to get some almost like probable cause for an appeal. Ted, does this have any effect on the case that we're tracking here at Court TV in Virginia, the case where he's going against Amber Heard?
No, not necessarily. I mean, legally, no. But I asked that question to famed entertainment lawyer Daryl Cohen. I had the privilege of talking to him today. Here's what he said.
Legally, it has zero or less than zero bearing. But you can bet that the judges, the courts in Virginia pay attention to what happens in Great Britain because we have something called social media. And they certainly have to be very prepared to realize that whatever the rulings are here, and whether or not it actually goes to trial, makes a very big difference.
Bottom line is, everybody knows now that he lost. He lost in London. I can only think that it does not help him.
Yeah, I still think he's going forward, because if he hates her and he's got money, he can pay lawyers, and lawyers will go forward with the case. They like money. Not that they're just doing it for the money, but, you know, they do it for the money. Ashley, what does this do ultimately, you think, to Johnny Depp's career now?
I think it's a great question. Things are so different for women who end up in the justice system than for men. But I gotta say, look, Ted did such a great package on this story, in which he put together a lot of this evidence, and some of it was pretty awful and embarrassing for Johnny Depp. It's all over the media, him passed out drunk in several different states and several different countries, and with several different kinds of substances. Not only that, his recordings are out there now, the abusive language that came as evidence. These were emails. This wasn't stuff that was just guesswork. This wasn't just opinion. This was testimony. This was evidence. This was actual hard found discovery, you know. And so these were Johnny Depp's words. I mean, I can't tell you how long it took me to put that piece together, for that little quote, Benny, given that we have standards and practices on the network. I gave you the Disney version of what he said in that email. I have a bit of a trucker mouth, honestly, a sailor mouth, and I wouldn't say half the things that he wrote. But that was evidence, and that was elicited in court, and that is in writings and wire copy, and I don't even know who else can put it out there, who can publish it, because it is filth. And these were things that he called Amber Heard. So this is out there for juries. And I dare say that since this was a bench trial in England, if it were a bench trial here in the U.S., he'd probably fare about the same.
Yeah.
He's that unlikable.
But that celebrity factor, I never underestimated.
Yeah.
You know, he never